Hello and welcome students. We will proceed with the chapter Minerals and Power Resources in India, and in this module we will learn about the non-conventional sources of energy. So the non-conventional sources of energy are the energy sources which are continuously replenished by the natural processes. They cannot be exhausted easily. They can be used again, and the examples are solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, biomass energy and geothermal energy. So these are the groups of or the sources of energy. They are naturally and provided unlimited, and they are also non-polluting sources of energy. The non-conventional energy resources are renewable, easily available, eco-friendly and pollution-free. If we see their advantages over the conventional sources of energy, then they are much cheaper and they are also renewable, means they are unlimited and there is free supply. Whereas the second advantage on the conventional sources are scarcity of fossil fuel. Now the overall limitation and scarcity of fossil fuels have given rise to the urgent need for exploitation of alternative sources of energy. So this is a very big reason why nowadays the non-conventional sources of energy are becoming very popular. Now we will start with the first one in the list, that is solar energy. Now what is solar energy? The solar energy refers to the capturing the energy of the sun and subsequently converting it into electricity. So the heat of the sun and the light of the sun, it is harnessed, it is used to convert it into electricity by the use of technology. Solar energy uses captured sunlight to create photovoltaic power, that is called PV, or concentrated solar power, that is CSP for solar heating. This energy conversion allows solar energy to be used in automotives, lights, heaters and different gadgets. So like this, the technology is already there, they are well developed. In India also it is well developed, so we can harness this source of energy, that is solar energy. This is a picture of a solar cell, solar panel. Here you can see on the rooftop it is put. See, solar energy or the appliance, there are several types of appliances that are based on harnessing of solar energy. So it is actually used according to the requirement. Now the first one is solar cell. A solar cell is an electrical device that converts energy of the sun directly into electricity by the photovoltaic effect, which is a physical and chemical phenomena. So this is a technology, a method by which the solar energy is converted into electricity. The actual solar cells are semiconductors, mostly made up of silicon and gallium. You can see the picture, this is a solar cell, and the parts are also shown, the layers of the solar cell. It's very clear from the picture that these are the materials used to make or construct a solar cell. Now the uses of a solar cell. Solar cells are used in power farms to provide electricity to large areas. Solar cells are used in vehicles like car, buses, etc. They are widely used in calculators, electronic watches, traffic signals, etc. And if we join several solar cells, they can be converted into a solar panel, and this will give out huge amount of solar energy. Now what are the advantages of a solar cell? Clean and non-polluting, renewable energy, do not produce noise for electricity generation. So during the generation of electricity, there is no noise at all and requires very little maintenance. Long lifetime support, because the source of energy is non-exhaustible, and there is no fuel cost because it is the supply of sun's energy is unlimited. Now next appliance is solar cooker. A solar cooker lets the UV rays in and then convert them to longer infrared light rays that cannot escape. So the UV rays are allowed to enter, and then they are converted into infrared light rays and they cannot escape. Now this technology is used in solar cooker for cooking. Let's see the picture. So there are two pictures, children. There are varieties of solar cooker. This is the first one, and these are different. There are different names also, categories of solar cooker. So I have put up two pictures. See, this is another one. You can see the cooker out here, and this is the solar panel. This will, the technology will be used and the food will be cooked. How does it work and what is solar cooker made up of? The central cooking tube is made up of borosilicate glass, which is resistant to thermal shock and has a vacuum beneath the surface to insulate the interior. Now inside the tube is lined with copper, stainless steel and aluminium to better absorb the heat that comes from the sun rays. So like this the food will be cooked. Now the next is solar water heater. So solar water heater is again the same technology is used, conversion of sunlight into heat for water heating using a solar thermal collector. So a solar thermal collector is used to heat the water. A sun facing collector heats a working fluid that passes into a storage system for later use. So fluid is heated and it passes into a system so that later on it can be used to heat water. See, these are two pictures I have put up. This is one, the first one. You can see they almost look like this only. They are manufactured by different companies and they are becoming popular in India. How does solar water heater works? So how does it work? The picture we have seen just now, how does it work? The sun's thermal energy heats the fluid in the solar collectors. So there is a fluid in the solar collectors and direct systems circulate water through the solar collector where it is heated by the sun. There are some direct systems in which the water directly enters into the solar collectors and then fluid is there which is already heated, it heats the water. The heated water is then stored in a tank or used directly. These systems are preferable in climates where it rarely freezes. So yes, this is a limitation. If there is a problem of freezing, then it would be very difficult to harness solar energy. So the areas where the temperature is very low, the solar energy is not very effective. Now solar power projects in India. So this is a long list. There are points, the names written of the solar power projects in India. The Pavagada Solar Park in Shakti Sthala, Karnataka. The Kamuthi Solar Power Project in Tamil Nadu and so on. So this is the list. Next, in India, the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission was launched in 11th January 2010. This mission had a ambitious target to deploying 20,000 megawatt of grid connected solar power by 2022, means by 2022 it was the target to produce 20,000 megawatt of solar energy, that is electricity. Now at present the solar power installed capacity of India is that is the data of 31st March and the source is Wikipedia. So according to the data of 31st March 2016, our power installed capacity is 6,742.85 megawatt. So this is our status of 31st March 2016. Now what are the advantages of solar energy? Renewable, non-polluting and available planet-wide. So everywhere it's available. Environment friendly. Solar cells do not release any harmful or greenhouse gases into the air. Technology is well developed. Cheaper compared to conventional sources and self-sufficient and do not require to be connected to any power grid. What are the disadvantages? Initial cost is quite high. It is totally dependent on weather. because if rainy days, cloudy days can hamper the production or the efficiency of the solar power. Solar energy storage is expensive. Use a lot of space or large land is required to install a solar plant or a solar panel. So, this was about the solar energy. The next in the list is wind energy. What is wind energy? Wind energy describes the process by which wind is used to generate electricity. Wind turbine convert the kinetic, that is the kinetic energy of wind, into mechanical power. This mechanical power can be used for specific tasks such as grinding grain or pumping water, or a generator can convert this mechanical power into electricity. So this is the most important thing, that is we can use the energy of the fast moving wind to produce or to convert it into electricity. So this is a picture of the windmills. You can see how wind energy is produced. A wind turbine captures the wind, which then produces a renewable energy source. The wind makes the rotor spin. As the rotor spins, the movement of the blade drives a generator that creates energy. The motion of the blades turning is kinetic energy. It is this power that we convert into electricity. So when the blades, you can see in the picture, the blades of these fan-like structure, when they move, they generate kinetic energy, and this can be converted into electricity. Now what are the advantages? Inexhaustible, because it is renewable, natural source, freely available, and the technology is well developed in India. Doesn't pollute, no emission of greenhouse gases, and in remote areas, the areas which are like far from power grid, they can efficiently use the windmills to fulfill their requirement of electricity. What are the disadvantages? Largely depend on the strength of the wind. Yes, because it's a natural thing, so definitely the functioning of the windmill and the efficiency of this system totally depends on the velocity of the wind. Wind turbines are noisy, so they produce a lot of noise. During the manufacture of wind turbine, little bit of pollution occurs. Large wind farms are needed to provide entire community with a service, enough electricity, so large area is occupied. So these can be the disadvantages of wind energy. Otherwise, if we see the list of advantages is a bit longer, so and these are also free and renewable sources of energy, so that's why we can rely on them, and they are also environment friendly. Now wind energy in India. The development of wind energy began in 1986 in the coastal areas of Maharashtra, Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Now see students, mostly wind is very fast and the velocity is high in the coastal areas. So these coastal states, the states which have coastline and coastal areas, they have developed this type of energy, that is wind energy. India is the fifth largest installed wind power capacity in the world. So India has a position in the production of wind energy. In 2015, the MNRE, this is an organization, set the target for generation of wind power by 2022 to be 60,000 megawatt. On 31st March 2016, this is a data, the installed capacity is 26,743.61 megawatt. So this is the status of wind energy in India. Now the next in the list is tidal energy. Tidal energy is another non-conventional source. Tidal power or tidal energy is a form of hydropower that converts energy obtained from tides into useful form of power, mainly electricity. Now the tides are more predictable compared to wind and the solar energy. So yes, this is another upcoming or being developed source of energy all over the world as well as in India. So let us see the picture. You can see, depending on the depth of water or the requirement, different types of tidal power plants are also constructed. Land based, This type of plants are like started or manufactured, set up in shallow water where the water is not very deep. Here the water is neither very deep nor very shallow, so transitional water, the depth is written 30 to 60 meters, and the last one is for the deep waters. So depending on the situation, tidal power plants are set up. So tidal stream generators are very similar to wind turbine, except they are below the water surface instead of above on the land. So these tidal stream generators, they are set up under the water so that they can harness the energy of the tides and convert their kinetic energy into electricity. Tidal water can be captured in a barrage across an estuary during high tide and forced through a hydro turbine during low tide. So the high tide and low tide, the gap between this is a potential for tidal energy. So during high tide, the water is captured in a barrage, and during low tide, the water is pushed through a hydro turbine. Now what happens? To capture sufficient power for the tidal energy potential, the height of high tide must be at least 5 meters. So this is a requirement for the production of tidal energy. Now what is the status of tidal energy in India? In India, Gulf of Khambat and Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat on the west coast have the maximum range of 6.77 meter and 5.23 meter respectively. So this is the height of water where its ideal condition for the production of tidal energy. Total identified potential of tidal energy is about 9,000 megawatt in Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat altogether. And there are some potential in other parts of India also, like Ganga Delta in Sundarbans in West Bengal has small potential, very small potential of only 100 megawatt. So the advantages: inexhaustible, renewable, environment friendly and doesn't produce greenhouse gases. Large part of the earth is covered by water, so there is a big scope of production of this energy, and moreover the maintenance cost is low. Maybe the setup cost is very high, definitely, because it's a new technology, but maintenance cost is low. The disadvantages: few locations are only ideal. Everywhere we cannot produce this kind of energy. Tidal energy cannot be harnessed. It requires an ideal condition. Intensity of sea waves are unpredictable, so they can even damage the power generation units which are actually set up under the water, below the level of surface level of the water. Then frozen sea, low or weak tide, straight coastline are some of the other obstruction and hurdles that can prevent from effective harnessing of tidal energy. So this was about the tidal energy. So thank you students. In this module we have learnt about the non-conventional sources of energy in India. In the next module we will learn further about the other non-conventional sources of energy in India.